the SFL. That was a tilting week 7. I was pretty depressed after the end of that Sunday night and those Monday night games. I lost all 4 leagues, and the Eagles lost in a bad come-from-behind victory from the Carolina Panthers. It's killing me, and I'm pretty sure I never want to play fantasy football again. And then Wednesday came around, and I just started feeling refreshed. And it's time to get back on the horse and kick your guys' asses in this league. So I'm going to dig into last week's projections, where I called House of Priapism over myself. And that was an easy call. They had a pretty high projection. There was actually an opportunity for me to take this game. They kind of underperformed, but Sony Michel got hurt really early. Ezekiel Elliott did absolutely nothing. And Joe Mixon and Tyler Boyd and the entire Cincinnati Bengals offense looked like hot dog shit. So, Martian Law, get at me. What the hell's going on with Dalton and the Bengals? I was so hopeful, especially in this game where the Kansas City Chiefs have been giving up so many fucking points. Why, man? Why? What's going on? Give me the answers. Okay, so I also called Dad Owns a Dealership over Montana Musket Loaders. That was correct. Dylan had a pretty strong week. Isaiah Crowell didn't do much, but he had a huge game from Thielen again in the wind. George Kittle blowing up, and Mahomes just totally on fire. Kamara even didn't have the greatest game, but with the way that the scoring works here and that touchdown, still finished with 20 points. So really solid. Called Martian Law over Stumptavius RoboClick. Correct. That was a pretty easy call. Martian went hot. Philip Lindsay had like a 24-point game. He's also turned into the RB1 there, which is really exciting. So things are trending up for Martian Law. He's looking a little better. I said Captain McGee over Chalupa. That was a contrarian call, and it was just way off base. Chalupa went nuts. James White, Todd Gurley. She also had, I think in this game, Zach Ertz had 22, and Stafford nearly finished with 20. But these two, James White, Todd Gurley, just blowing up. Gee probably could have used some more points from Barber. I think he had left a few on the bench. I don't think any combination of what he had could have won him this week. But some things trending up with Mac looking good, and Lamar Miller getting back involved in this game. Then he gets Smith-Schuster back next week. And then Joe Buck versus Holden. We don't need to spend too much time on that, but obviously Joe Buck was the better play, and would have won money if I bet on him. I don't know what the over would have been. Probably a healthy handicap in his favor, but I really kind of feel bad for Holden. He keeps getting injured. He's losing off of some dumb shit. He also hasn't fielded the best team, but there's a little bit of like things just cursed on this squad right now. So I really do empathize with you, man. I hope things turn around. Joe Buck looking good, trending up. Tariq Cohen, Kerryon Johnson working their way into roles. Trey Burton blowing up. And Bears have been looking good. We'll see if that continues. So I'll jump into this week's predictions. Actually, let's see here. My calls for the week. Breaker of Change over Holden. This is a pretty obvious call. Like Guy said, Holden might score like 120 this week, but I've been pretty consistent, and I expect that will continue here against Holden, who really isn't going to be able to field much of a team with all these injuries. So we'll see what happens, but that's my stake in the ground for myself. This seemed like a week where maybe I would call Martian Law upsetting Chalupa, but I guess it's not technically an upset right now. And I dig in, and I find out that, Keenan Allen's out, so she doesn't have her total projection up there. And who did she put in place? Devontae fucking Adams. So when you look at Devontae Adams, Matty Stafford, Todd Gurley, James White, Mark Ingram, it's going to be scary. So her projections bump up a little higher than what Martian Law's will be. And I expect that this is the week that she continues the streak, and Martian's going to have to go down. We'll see what happens. I mean, I like what's happening. James Conner's in a good spot, and Lindsay might be an RB1 for a while moving forward. So there's some exciting things there. But Zach Ertz is kind of the difference maker for me here over O.J. Howard. I think he's been so consistent. So I'm leaning Chalupa. And third one's Joe Buck versus Gee. This one's tight. The projections are neck and neck. I'm favoring Gee. Most of that comes from his stable running back core. I think Marlon Mack's breaking out, and that's a good game against Oakland. McCaffrey, he's got a solid floor. This might not be the game where he really explodes against Baltimore, but he could still have a pretty good game. Lamar Miller looks like he's breaking out again. And then Odell Beckham's been hot. I see that this is the first week that Gee is finally not starting the Jameis Winston, Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson stack. I think he's getting off of that high horse that he was on about the Tampa Bay Bucks earlier in the year. Which actually means his team's getting better in fantasy, but his real life team's probably getting a little worse. So I'm actually leaning Gee because I don't see that Joe Buck is necessarily going to be able to put up the same kind of points he had with Burton and Cohen and Johnson. I think those are kind of flashes in the pan. I mean, they're definitely involved, but are they going to explode the way they did for 25 again? And plus, really, across the board there, I don't know. I also don't like Peterson there at the Giants. But there are some strong plays, Hopkins, Diggs, Galladay. I'm putting my stake in, though, for Gee. And then Montana. See, Montana, I think this whole TJ Yeldon thing in Jacksonville, this is going to get ugly with Carlos Hyde there. I don't know if he's going to have the kind of role you hope for. Maybe he's the passing down guy. But the Eagles actually have a really good linebacking core, and they do a good job of stopping these receiving running backs and stopping the run game in general. So you really want to attack them through the air, and I don't know which quarterback on the Jacksonville Jaguars is going to do that, but we'll find out. I just don't really expect high things from them. Kareem Hunt, big game potential. I ended up calling this one. Oh, the other thing is Jordy Nelson might have a wide receiver one role here, which is kind of interesting. Who else can really catch passes there? I mean, maybe Jared Cook gets more work, but if Amari Cooper really does leave or is injured, then Jordan Nelson steps into a really interesting spot. But I don't think that's going to be enough to win him the week. Prepism is just off to such a start, and now we're 8 weeks in, and they are 5-2, and I think one of the highest points for. So really strong team. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Harrison Butker. I love the exposure to the Kansas City offense. That's smart. So I'm leaning Prepism, and then Stump and Dealership. I'm saying Dealership. Patrick Mahomes is probably going to blow up again. He's got David Johnson. He's got Kamara. He's got some solid wide receivers. Thielen's just a star. George Kittle can blow up. I think Ebron loses some value with Doyle coming back. I like John Brown. I like Antonio Brown. And Edelman here even, but they're just not, aside from, you got two high ceiling guys and a pretty stable floor. I don't think Martin really is the guy there. I don't really know what's going to shape up in that backfield, but I don't expect Dick Martin to turn into the world beater that he was before. Jordan Howard lost a bunch of work, and Carlos Hyde, that's a mess. So these running backs really just do not compare to what Dylan's going to be rolling out there. Aaron Rodgers in a good spot, but Mahomes is the trump card over Rodgers. I think he's the new QB1. So, all right, that's my calls for the week. Just recap. We're going to go Breaker, Chalupa, Gee, Prepism, and my dad